you're a home buyer, somebody or a young person looking to buy a home, you need a bit of a reset.
There is a possibility on the other side of this that inflation could actually be quite low.
Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. And today we're going to talk about Sacramento new construction. We're going to tour this area, you guys. There is so much new construction where I'm at right now, literally surrounded by new construction. But before we really dig into this video, and there's going to be some guest appearances from YouTubers, from subscribers. But before I do all of that, let's go over the Sacramento stats as far as income. Now, as far as the average household income in Sacramento, that's $93,320. Median sales price, $500,000. So that's a little over a 5 PE ratio. So not as bad as some metros that we've been to already. Now, median sales price did peak according to Redfin May of 2022, and that peaked at $535,000. Now that's down roughly $35,000 or 6.5%. Now the average person that has zero debt, okay, so zero debt, the average person can afford $310,835 if they have a $71,000 down payment. What also is really interesting is roughly 44% of existing home inventory has price cuts. It's gonna be really hard to really show you guys how much money is being dumped into this area, but I'm gonna come up here and I just wanna show you one of the homes that's under construction right now. This is epic, guys. I never expected this. All right, take a look. See, it's just building all over the place, going up the street. Unbelievable. I mean, these guys, what recession, what quantitative tightening? I mean, these guys are just sending it really, really amazing. But let's go over now the Folsom. So I'm in the Folsom area, multiple subdivisions everywhere, multiple builders. Now that we've gone over the Sacramento stats, let's go over the Folsom stats. Going to New Home Source, this is the primary area in Folsom that we visited. And what is very interesting to point out is they're only listing 139 homes. You guys, we saw hundreds of homes either available for sale or being constructed. There are several builders and several price points. Some of the builders are Toll Brothers, Tri-Point Homes, Beezer Homes, Elliott Homes, Taylor Morrison, and obviously Lennar. And you can see Lennar is offering ridiculous cuts on houses as well. Starting with our first price cut here, you can see $222,216 price cut. Now, obviously the price point is high, but that is a substantial price cut right there alone from Lennar. If you see Richmond Homes right here, Richmond Homes is showing a $38,000 price cut as well as Toll Brothers, slight price cut at Toll Brothers at $16,000 you can see here. But Lennar, here's another Lennar listing with Lennar absolutely shredding the prices of their houses for $279,921 price cut. Now, if I go to Lennar's website directly, you can see that they're only showing 26 available homes right here. You see that in 10 different communities. So they're saying they have 10 communities. What I could tell you right now is in just one community, we have found more than 26 homes. So they are once again underreporting the amount of inventory. Now, as far as incentives from Lennar, they're not listing anything in that area. Now, going to foreclosures right here on Zillow, you guys know I like to use Zillow to show foreclosure data. It is showing in the Sacramento area, when I expand the search, 49 total homes that are under foreclosure, one of them being 199,000. So if you want to look into Sacramento more, there are several foreclosures. Now, when I went to Folsom, which is right here, I was only able to find one home that was being foreclosed on for about $900,000. So Folsom is a very, very nice area. I do owe Johnny $1. Not only am I going to give Johnny $1, I'm also going to make this really cool montage. So we're in our first subdivision. We're gonna walk up this street real quick. A lot of building going on. Not sure if they're sold. They're probably not sold. Oh, the spec homes just continues. Again, this area, they're just sending it. Really, really astonishing stuff here, guys. As I'm walking up here, just pay attention to the construction. You could see the right side here. You see all of that construction, you know, right here. And let me ask Jason, what builders are out here right now?
So there's 11,000 houses. We have Kiwi Homes, we have TriPoint, Lennar, Toll Brothers. The list goes on and on and on. So multiple subdivisions here within Folsom Ranch. It's a giant area.
What do you think of the spec homes? Do you think these are all sold? I mean, that one says available. That one says available. You know, what do you think about all the? Because normally they sell it and then build it. They don't have.
Actually, they don't here in California or in Greater Sacramento area. You can buy a house where it's a dirt lot. You basically pick all the fit and finishes in the house. So it can be a dirt lot, which is sold, and they build it 6 to 12 months then, or they buy something that's already built. But in general, especially right now with the decreases in demand and also the increase in prices for construction, the builder really wants to try to get the lot sold and then they build the home. So, but you have some scenarios where people have done that and they locked in a rate, or when they got their offer accepted, they're at 5%, right? And so now they're at like 8%, they haven't locked in their rate. So you do see some cancellation. So that's why you reach out to some of these builders out here. They have these houses that are completed that you can move in, and that's why, because the buyer has backed out. So hard to say whether or not these houses are sold or not. It's really hard to know.
Yeah, man, and what I like to remind people, Jason, is depending on the subdivision, some subdivisions are in a little bit more distress than others. Now, this Folsom area has a tremendous amount of building, but it looks like this is a subdivision to where they may be cutting prices, maybe offering incentives, because again, look at that. I mean, all of this still looks available. I mean, so.
What I will say though is that it's wild, like what happened in 2020, 2021 compared to now.
Yeah.
Because back in 2020, 2021, when rates were at 3%, you were lucky to get onto the waiting list to buy a house. So it was basically like you had to like beg them to get an offer accepted and buy something. Now, totally different, right? Because the rates have increased so much, inventory's increased. So right now you can get a house that's move-in ready, in which it's already completed because the buyer already backed out.
So a few years ago, you were on a waiting list?
No, I mean, lucky to get on a waiting
Oh my
list.
gosh,
Yeah,
and now look at this, it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, like there's there's 50 people in front of you, and then they just go down the list. And so it was really challenging to get a house. Now it's obviously much more easy now.
All right, guys, so we're gonna go, let's take them to a little bit further down here, and we're gonna take you guys to another subdivision so you guys can, we're basically gonna try to give you guys an idea of how big this whole, what is this, a freaking city they just built in the middle of nowhere? Yeah, it's 3,000 acres. I mean, let's go to the next place right now, you guys, sit tight. So we're in another subdivision right across from where we were just at. This is the TriPoint builder. And I want Jason to talk about how important it is to basically do a home inspection when it comes to new construction. And as we're going by, we're passing all of these houses right here. I changed my f-stop so you guys can see that. So keep your eyes on that. But Jason Walters, the legend, the man, like tell the viewers, man, and let's walk up here. Tell the viewers why it is important to get, a home inspection, maybe several inspections, and maybe if you can touch on that.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Travis. So I think there's like this misconception when you're buying a brand new house that you don't need any inspections. And that's just like far from the truth. Yeah. I've had my inspectors say that they find more issues with a brand new house completed compared to an existing house. And so you want to make sure you have a look at your, hey, how's it going?
Good job, man, you're doing good. Woo!
You want to make sure that obviously they installed their roof tiles. And here, most all the houses all have roof tiles. We'll make sure that's installed correctly. I have a good story. So I helped someone buy a house probably about 3 years ago, a brand new home, and we did a sewer line inspection. One would assume the sewer line would be totally fine, right? Find out after they do the sewer line, they have a little camera at the end of this little snake. Find out they didn't even connect the sewer to the house.
Unbelievable.
And this is for a brand new home. And so, and that's like $150.
Yeah. Yeah.
If my client would have moved in, ran the toilets, everything, it would have been a big issue. So anyways, yeah, going back to your question, I'd highly recommend getting an inspection, whether it's an existing house that's only 1 year old, a brand new home, or a house that's like 50 years old. And there could be a wide range of inspections you can do. Roof inspection, sewer line inspection, chimney inspection, a whole home inspection, a pest inspection, the list goes on and on.
And you guys also remember, you're gonna, if you do find issues with the construction, you don't want to close until it's completed, because again, you know, look at all the horror stories. And if you look online, if you guys wait to close and then go, you know, to the builder, this is Tri-Point specifically, and ask for those repairs to be done, a lot of times it's a hassle. A lot of times you'll get, you know, jerked around. You always, at least in my opinion, do not close until everything is to your expectations. Would you agree with that, Jason?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I'll add too is that in California, we have like a 1-year fit and finish warranty. So that means like if you have like your cabinet, I don't know, the handle falls off, or like the door like is not working properly, all the fit and finishes within the home, if that is not, if something goes awry within the first year, you have a 1-year inspection, 1-year warranty, I should say. So what sometimes people do, they get all their inspections done before they close, which is a really good advice. You give Travis, watch out, the car coming.
Yeah, I see.
So that's really good advice, but also you may want to get all the more inspections done within maybe the 11th month mark, because if you find any issues, you can give that to the builder and say, hey, here's some things the inspectors found out, and you can get those things taken care of before your warranty expires, because that's kind of one of the draws about buying a brand new home, is you have these warranties in place, and that's kind of like the main thing that you want to be kind of like a cognizant of.
Yeah, and honestly, that's actually, that's a genius response. I never even thought of that. So what Jason is saying is basically, for the most part, you know, new homes come with like a bumper-to-bumper warranty for the first year. So he's saying before that expires, get a home inspection. If anything comes up, that's your opportunity to have that builder come back out and repair it and fix it prior to you losing that warranty. Is that right, brother?
Yeah, absolutely true. Definitely true. It's basically your opportunity to get something fixed.
Yeah.
That's covered under a warranty. Otherwise, you have to incur those costs after that your time.
And you guys can see, I mean, it's been, you know, things have changed in Folsom. I mean, look at I'll pan real quick, and we're gonna go to the Lennar section next. You guys know how I feel about Lennar, but I wanted to show you Lennar because obviously the incentives that they're offering are pretty good deals. So we're gonna head to another area, but you know, great recommendations, Jason. You know, and real quick, guys, do me a favor. Go to Jason Walter's YouTube channel. Check this guy out. He is in the data, knows what's going on, very unbiased, you know, wants to present the data, you to make up your own decisions. So again, go to Jason Walters on YouTube and subscribe. Okay guys, so we took you to the Lennar community now of Silver Knoll, and there is a, oh my gosh, there is a tremendous amount of building, you know, and I want to give props to, you'll probably never watch this, but the construction manager here, Todd, was, man, he was exceptional.
Super guy. He was super cool.
Absolutely exceptional. I mean, he stayed, he talked to us, he was very kind, you know, pointing things out. Not really used to that, you know, with you know, these types of communities, so really happy about that. Let's go this way. And again, you guys, as we're walking down here, just take a look at all of the new construction. And what I'm gonna do is, I want Jason to kind of go over why it's so important to use a realtor specifically, especially important when it comes to new construction. Jason, sir, can you please tell us why is it important to use a realtor?
I think there's some misconception out there that if you don't use an agent, then the builder is going to give you a great deal, and that's just simply not the case. They're not going to say, okay, you don't have an agent, let's reduce the price by $10,000. It's just not going to happen. So I would say that probably the most challenging thing when buying a brand new construction is that the builder has their own contract that you sign, which is completely different compared to buying an existing house in which you use the California Association of Realtors forms statewide. But when buying a brand new home construction, you're using a builder's contract, and those builder contracts can be 100 to 150 pages long. It's really hard to figure out what are your contingencies. Do you have an appraisal contingency? Do you have a loan contingency? Is there an inspection contingency? All these things are really buried in the contract, really hard to kind of go over that. So that's the first thing that kind of pops in my head, that you really want to have someone who can go over the contract with you, because it's very in-depth. It's hard to get an idea about what things you guys have in place, and if you guys need to back out in case like your loan gets denied or whatever. So that's the first thing that pops in my head. Another thing too is you want to make sure that someone's also going to negotiate on your behalf as well, right? Because just like buying an existing house, you need someone there by your side to look after your best interests as well.
So, okay, you know, contracts is a huge one. Now, you know, Jason also mentioned negotiations, very important. He also, you know, he mentioned the fact that, you know, if you need to cancel, a realtor will help you do that, you know. But what about, Jason, you know, setting up and structuring the actual deal as far as like earnest money and things like that?
Yeah, so that's a good question, because like 2 years ago, you're basically lucky to buy a house, right? And now it's like there's like more options for buyers out there. And so try and find someone who can negotiate on your behalf to ask for any closing cost credits, to give you like a free refrigerator, any other thing.
Number one! Yeah. Number one, baby!
Thanks for your hard work, guys. So anyways, yeah, someone to negotiate on your best half, because as a home buyer, frankly, you didn't have a whole lot of negotiating power because there's so much demand out there. Now that demand has come down, there's more inventory, there's more room to negotiate a best deal. So that could be in the form of a price reduction, asking for a closing cost credit, doing something with your mortgage where you can get like a lower rate, because you can't do that obviously for an existing house for most cases.
Yeah. You know, in other words, guys, you know, yeah, and the problem, Jason, is a lot of people don't like really understand what we're saying, you know, and unfortunately, guys, and really what we're saying here is, you know, as consumers, don't learn the hard way. You know, you really don't, some people don't learn unless they go through that pain. And what we're saying is it's not even necessary. So don't be going, you know, oh, and another thing, you know, okay, talk to them, Jason, about like not signing in to the sales center unless you're with your realtor, and how they could like block your realtor from actually representing you.
Yeah, good call. I forgot to mention that as well. So in California, maybe it's not this case in many other states, but in California, if you're not with your agent during the first time you're going to the sales office to register, they don't allow you to be represented by an agent. So if you guys go to a sales office and you sign in without your real estate agent being present, you're not going to be able to select an agent down the road. And so that's super important, because if you guys want someone to look out for your best interest, then you want to have an agent represent you. And so if you're interested in buying a house, whether it's an existing house or a brand new home construction, you know, make sure you have an agent already selected, so you can go out to the sales offices, get registered with your agent, and talk about, you know, options you have available. Yeah, good question, Travis.
Yeah, and you guys, I mean, this is really kind of astounding, you know, the fact that a couple years ago, you were lucky to be
selected from the wait list. Yeah.
So, you know, to be on the wait list, and now, I mean, you guys see we're walking through multiple streets of new construction and options. So, you know, a lot going on here, you know, a lot of money being poured into this area. So
for sure, yeah.
What we want to do, guys, we want to show you the development that's going on that still has to be done as well. So sit tight for that. Not only are, you know, we showing you guys multiple spec homes, multiple houses that are available. If you look around here in Folsom, my God, they've probably got 70% more of this whole area to complete. I mean, look at, I'm panning around here, you guys. Everywhere I look, there is a project that's either started or about to start. So, you know, to me so far, this looks a little bit top heavy. You know, from where I'm from, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. But what I want to talk to you guys about, you know, now is, and Jason's going to break this down, you know, we've been seeing price cuts. We've been seeing $50,000 price cut, $40,000 price cuts. But what I like to tell people, Jason, is we really don't know if those are true price cuts unless we can review comparable data, and we can review and do a market analysis localized to a subdivision. So Jason, can you tell us why it's important to basically, you know, do some homework?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's so easy for an existing house, right? So an existing house, especially in a subdivision that's built within the last 20 years, usually it's pretty easy to get a comparable sale to kind of figure out, is this home overpriced? Is it priced right? Or is it underpriced? In the new home construction, entirely different story, right? Because if a home sold for $1 million 1 month ago, did the builder give them $50,000 in closing cost credit? Did they also offer them a 5% rate when rates were at that time were at 7%? So in order to provide some like comparable sales, it can get very, very tricky, because those things are not really public information. You're not gonna go onto Redfin, for example, and see that, oh, okay, the builder gave them all these closing cost credits, all these incentives. You're not gonna see that. But what a builder will do will say, oh, this house sold for $1 million, but they probably won't tell you all these incentives they probably gave them. So it makes it really challenging to figure out, is this house priced right or not? I probably would err on the side of like, how long has it been listed for sale, right? Has it been listed for sale for a long period of time? Then you might be able to get a good deal on the property. So another thing I would add too is that when people ask me about buying new home construction, if you guys want the best deal, I mean, honestly, a lot of these companies are publicly traded companies. They want to get their sales before the year end or their fiscal year end closes. So right now, builders are offering all these incentives if you close by the year end, right? Because they want to, inflate their books to, satisfy their investors. But I will say, if you're looking to buy a brand new home construction, whether it's in Sacramento, Folsom, wherever across the United States, best to look for a house that's already completed because the builder has all those costs built into the property already. They paid for all their construction workers, all the materials that went into the property. And so therefore they're much more willing to negotiate with you versus going to a builder in which they have just dirt lots. They're not gonna really negotiate with you because there's very little sunken cost into those properties. So looking to buy a brand new home construction, reach out to your home builder and of course your agent to try to find some houses that are move-in ready and negotiate from there. That'd be my best advice.
Yeah, and for you agents, if there's any realtors that still watch my channel, and by the way, I'm sorry for offending you, I just think that we need it so that we're stronger. But if you're an agent, do not forget, if you have a client here, you go in, a lot of times this stuff is not being reported on MLS, okay? A lot of times the only way to really do a proper market analysis to review the data is you gotta go in and you gotta talk to the sales agents, which, Jason, it's not always the easiest thing to do to talk to these sales agents who are not even licensed, by the way. But again, you guys, our point here is don't just assume you're gonna get a great deal coming in here. And especially if you're an agent, especially if you're a new agent, you gotta go in, talk to the sales agents a lot of times, look at the data, and then obviously based on what the data says, that's the offer that you should make. And then also based on how many spec homes, how in distress, all of this stuff comes into play. But one thing we don't want you to do, guys, and again, agent or not, is do not be putting in offers for new construction blindly. This is gonna be our last clip. We'll do our conclusion, and I wanna walk up here. This street is closed, and I wanna show you there's probably, I don't know, I'll throw the drone up, but there's probably 1,000, 500, hundreds and hundreds of units that are coming up, apartment units that are, about to hit the rental market. Let me pan so you guys can kind of get, an idea. You guys see that? I mean, and that goes way back and way around. And the really interesting thing, guys, is this is just one development that's going on in Folsom. Folsom in total is just huge when it comes to construction. But, I want people to understand, especially if you plan on being a landlord here, long-term rental, whatever it is, impacts like this, when you have 500, 600 units hit the market at once, that's gonna have an impact on prices of rents. Jason, could you kind of give us your intel and your thoughts on what impact all of those, apartments and a lot of other apartments that are being built around here, what impact is that gonna have on the long-term rental market?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think in general, we all know, nationwide, we're very close to all-time record highs for the number of units under construction, which are basically apartment buildings. And so because there's so much construction going on regarding apartment buildings, really on a national level, that's gonna put downward pressure on prices, on rental prices for those apartments, but also of course it'll impact the existing single family houses as well. So just be something cognizant of that. If you guys are looking to buy a property, you want to be an investor, you might want to look at the area about regarding what's the new construction in the area as well, because of course that's going to impact your return on your investment, and of course your ROI as well, if there's more supply that comes on the market after you guys buy the house.
All right, guys, so my overall opinion here, and I may go back to my studio to give you guys a breakdown, but when there's top-heavy communities like this, it reminds me of where I had my foreclosure. Do we have an abundance of, existing inventory, abundance of foreclosure? No, absolutely not yet. Do we have unemployment? No, not yet. But if, we go into any type of tailspin type of situation in the economy, which is not there yet, these are places that I'm gonna be watching, especially because again, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. But regardless, here's what I want you guys to think about. If you are in the market, just purchase using the data, purchase wisely. Some of the things that I look for is obviously wedge, is obviously cash flow. Now, if you are interested in anything here, obviously you can reach out to me if you want more information, but you can also reach out to Jason. Jason is a realtor here in Sacramento. Jason Walters, how can they get a hold of you?
Thanks, Travis. You can just reach out to me. I have obviously have my YouTube channel, which is just Jason Walter. And of course, you can also email me as well, which is jason@meetjasonwalter.com. But on my YouTube channel, I have all my contact. And this is absolutely bonkers. Hope you guys got a lot of value in today's video.
You guys heard it from Jason. This is absolutely bonkers. And other than that, guys, if you're out there investing in real estate, you know we wish you luck and we hope you win.